Welcome to Breathe In, Scream Out, a podcast for feeling it all, one breath and scream at a time. I'm Katie Healy, your guide through this sacred mess called life. Here in this podcast, we'll feel everything. We'll cry, we'll laugh, we'll scream, and maybe scream again. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome back to Breathe In, Scream Out. I'm your host, Katie Healy, and I'm so excited to be back with you for my first solo episode. It's been a minute. This episode is dedicated to Pisces season, the Pisces new moon, the Virgo full moon, eclipse season, all of the astrological happenings that have been kicking up, going on while I've taken a little bit of a break, and I can't wait to get into things with you. First and foremost, we'll start the way we always start. What am I screaming about? So many things now, more than ever. Have you gone outside? But in true Pisces energy, embracing the energy of the season, I'm not going to make myself commit just to one thing. I'm going to let, whatever comes, comes. If you listen to my last episode with the amazing Miss Sophie Williams, she is a Pisces Mercury. I'm a Sagittarius Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication. Sag and Pisces are ruled by Jupiter. We go on a journey. We go on a tour. We take a lot of stops. Some make sense, some don't. And that's just what I'm going to do. That's who I am, And I'm screaming about Punchy Punch, the monkey in Japan. I'll cry if I talk about that, as I have been all week. A little monkey whose mother abandoned him. May she never find peace. And his trials and tribulations in the zoo. I may have to go and rescue him. I think I'm screaming about all of the things we are learning in America currently that we have known. Light is being shed on about, these people in power and their investments, like the brand Limited too, and how women of a certain age, my age, our beauty standards were created by these monsters. But mainly I think I'm screaming about something that I'm always screaming about. We live on a floating rock that provides food and sun and shelter and everything we need. And somehow I have a credit score. You have a credit score. If you live in the United States, you have a credit score. I will never get over this. I want to go back to the barter system so badly. I don't think everyone's on the same train as me, on the same wavelength as me, but all these little things I scream and yell about, really, this is the crux of the issue. How the fuck did we get here? I've been asking myself that a lot personally. How the fuck did I get here? The current state of affairs of my life. How the fuck did we get here? That we have a made up number that dictates if, where, and how, and if we can live in a home, in what neighborhood, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. I don't got much to say, except I'm sick of it. And I just think if we went back to the barter system, I could trade my services. You could, if you're hey, my accountant, it's coming up, tax season's coming up, can't avoid it. Even though I say boycott all our taxes, this episode's going to get flagged. I'm already shadow banned on Instagram. We're less than 5 minutes in, and I'm like, don't pay your taxes. Don't. But if we all didn't, what would happen? This is so unhinged, and I am embracing every second of it. Okay, for taxes, for example, my tax man, let's say his name's Joe. Joe, you do my taxes. I'll give you this many breathwork sessions. I'll do this for you. I'll do that. I can cook. Like, what? What is money? And we're going to leave it at that. I've had enough of it. It's paper. And can't we print more? I like to say that, especially to men when they're talking to me about money, which a lot of them don't. I don't really attract the finance bros, thank heavens. But what is money? Can't we print more? When do we go back to bartering services? That's really what I want to know. We covered a lot of ground in less than 5 minutes. And that's just the beginning of what this episode is going to be like. And not just this episode, it's eclipse season, babe. Eclipse season. Things can change on the turn of a dime. Is that the saying? I don't know. But she's getting back in the saddle. She's all the things that have been stored in my brain for the last 2 months that I haven't been sharing on here are coming out now. So we went from punch to we live on a floating rock. Why do I have a credit score to barter system? And that's really where I'm at right now. I only am emotionally available for this little tiny 6-month-old monkey who's been abandoned by his real mother. I don't understand how to do my taxes or why credit scores exist except to oppress people. I am horrified to know that the beauty standards that women of my age live by come from the most disgusting men on the earth. And what is money? Can't we print more? Let's scream. Wherever you are, find a seat. Standing. If you can't find a seat, if you're walking, if you're driving your car, just start to, feel your feet, your seat underneath you. Just allow yourself to find a little bit of presence. That Pisces energy wants us to run in whatever direction our heart sees fit. And part of knowing how to work with the energy in an evolved or higher vibrational way is knowing when to ground and to get back into your body and not just live in the tangent of barter system. So just finding your seat or your feet beneath you, maybe closing your eyes or holding them open with a soft gaze, whatever feels best and right for you. Connecting to your natural breath, your inhale, your exhale, through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And just letting all of that intense energy from the past few weeks, months, years, maybe if it feels like you've been in an intense cycle of time, just inviting it into the space, not working against it, but being aware of what we're working with today. We're going to take 3 breaths. Our final one will be some sound here. So wherever you are, whether you are in a moment of private and can really lean into that sound or need to just fake scream into the air. Sometimes even just the action of the scream in the body without the full sound can be the catharsis that we need in this moment. So take a deep breath in through your nose. Sigh out through your mouth. Feel your seat, your feet beneath you. Maybe feel your shoulders drop a little bit. Another deep inhale through your nose. Big sigh out through your mouth. Maybe stick your tongue out a little. And this final round of breath, invitation to make some sound into your hands, a pillow, or even just the action of that scream without sound maybe helps release some tension today. We take our biggest breath in through the nose yet. Some sound out into your hands, out into the open. Maybe bounce the shoulders a little bit or shake them. Feel your seat underneath you, your feet underneath you. Just return to your normal breath. Take a slightly deeper inhale, slightly deeper exhale, slightly deeper inhale, slightly deeper exhale. Wiggle the fingers, the toes. And if your eyes are closed, just gently start to flutter them open. Hopefully feeling a little more in the body, present, grounded, or just whatever you needed to feel today, wherever you needed to be with your own energy. Pisces season. Not only is it Pisces season, it's eclipse season. Not only is it Pisces season and eclipse season, it's Mercury retrograde. Not only is it all those things, but Saturn and Neptune, as of the day I'm recording this, have come into a conjunction in Aries. They both just shifted into Aries, and you're like, I don't know what that means. just know that it's the first time it's happened in 6,000 years. So whenever you're listening to this and wherever you're listening to this, collectively the energy is a lot, which probably only magnifies what's happening in your life as well. Eclipses are always a time of upheaval, rapid change, expansion in many ways. And we're in the space of shifting between two axes of these eclipses. But let's start at the beginning. Pisces season, we're under the Pisces sun, which is that period of time where people born in towards the end of February, this year it was February 18th, through the middle of March, about March 20th, are born under the Pisces sun. And because there is a Pisces sun, that means for these 30 days, there will be a new moon in Pisces. Every season that we're in, the new moon correlates to that sign. And the full moon is its opposite sign, its sister sign, Virgo. So there will be a full moon in Virgo. And we just passed a solar eclipse in Aquarius. There was a new moon in Aquarius. We call it a solar eclipse. It was February 17th, the very last day this year of Aquarius season. There will be a total lunar eclipse, our final eclipse in Virgo on March 3rd, just right in the center of this season of Pisces. So about a week after this podcast comes out. And then the new moon will be in Pisces on March 18th, just as the season is ending. And that's kind of the setup of our moon cycle right now. The new moon is happening at the end of the season. So it's a really interesting gift we're getting of being able to feel into the energy. And then at the end, one of the final degrees of the sign, arguably the most evolved, what is supposed to be a more evolved version of the sign, the closer we get to that final degree, 29th degree of a sign, we're each season able right now to really build up to that fullness, that evolution. And Pisces is a water sign. It is the final sign of the 12 signs of the Zodiac. So really, I'm coming up and what I believe in as the end of my year, the astrological year. I follow that calendar, and I would argue that for many years we did. You can thank Julius Caesar. I don't know if I mentioned this in the final solo episode I did in 2025, but he wanted to collect debts and taxes on January 1st. So that is why we started that crazy calendar. But when you think about the seasons, usually Aries season is the first day of spring. And then the first day of summer correlates with Cancer season. And then the first day of fall correlates to Libra. And the first day of winter, Capricorn. And there's the equinoxes or equini and the solstices. And they all correlate the same. So the seasons of like spring, summer, fall, winter actually correlate pretty seamlessly with the astrological calendar. So Pisces is the 12th sign. It is water. It is a mutable sign. There's mutable, cardinal, fixed, and it's mutable. So changeable, that space kind of in between winter and spring. And the other mutable signs are Virgo, its sibling sign, in between summer and fall. And then the other two signs in there are Gemini and Sag. Gemini is in between spring and summer, and Sag is in between fall and winter. And obviously global warming is real. So unfortunately the seasons are looking very different nowadays, but you get the idea. And Virgo is an earth sign. It is the 6th sign, so directly opposite Pisces, also mutable. And I think of Pisces season really as the ending. Or when I think about the 12 signs, if Aries is one, I've mentioned this analogy before, this idea. Aries is the newborn baby. Pisces is the elder ascending off the earth, becoming an ancestor. Halfway out the door, the spirit body at least. And it feels like one of my favorite topics, death. It feels a lot like that final shedding. And, you know, we were in the year of the snake. If you want to expand even more, people were really coming to understand more of the lunar calendar I found in this last year, also because the patriarchy is burning. So we're going back to these ancient practices and ways of being, and no longer just subscribing to this structure that has been forced upon us by insecure men, starting with Julius Caesar. So we just started the year of the fire horse, and I know everyone was talking a lot about the year of the snake being the shedding, and I would argue Pisces is still allowing that space to shed and also be open to what is. You know, it's really powerful that Pisces season and the eclipses that we've had over this last 2.5 years have correlated in that way. And we'll get into eclipse season a little bit more. I want to focus first on Pisces and Virgo so we can understand the season that we're in and the energy that we're existing in. And again, whether you're a Pisces sun or Virgo moon or not, maybe you have no planets in Pisces or Virgo, you still have a part of your chart that is ruled by Pisces and Virgo. So there's still a part of your life that may be up for a review during this time of year. And for example, I'm Sag Sun, Gemini rising. I don't have a planet in Pisces or Virgo, but I do have, and I've spoken about these placements before, and we'll get into them a little deeper, North Node and South Node in Pisces and Virgo, arguably where my soul wants to go, like what I want to learn how to embrace in this life is Pisces, what I want to let go of is Virgo, which everyone in my family has a lot of Virgo placements. It's very interesting for me, but that is, even though it's not moon in Pisces for me per se, it is where my soul wants to grow and learn, and it's a North Star in a way for me in a lot of ways. It's also my house of career. It's my midheaven, which is another point of legacy, career, what you're leaving behind, public facing roles. So again, if you think, oh, I don't have a Pisces sun, moon, or rising, check the chart, see what's going on. And if you are thinking, I don't know where the hell to begin, reach out to me and we'll look at it together. It's my favorite thing to do in the world is get into charts with people. But Pisces is water. It's the final sign. It is the ultimate surrender. If there was a theme for Pisces season, it would be let go or be dragged, especially this one. And I say that with all the love and kindness in my heart, and especially to myself, because I like to cling. I know how to cling. I know how to create order and structure and execute. And I struggle to be in the surrender, like I think so many of us do. We've been made to believe that control is security, and it's actually a false sense of security in so many ways. But Pisces season is the ultimate surrender. It's the final sign. It's the final act of, when you think about it, if you think about that transition from life to death, like I said, Pisces season brings up a lot of that. Again, not literal death, the transition, the death of a version of yourself, a way of being, an idea you have about who you have to be or how your life has to look, and the ability to embrace that. After every death or ending, there is new life, a new beginning. And sometimes in the literal, or most often in the metaphorical sense. It is a time to let the intuition lead. If Virgo wants to lead with the analytical mind, its sibling sign, Pisces wants to be led by intuition. It wants to flow like water. It wants to create space for our feelings to be witnessed and honored. Not to make a home in them, not to act, quote unquote, badly to justify our feelings, but to really allow ourselves to swim in the water of Pisces. It represents our subconscious, our dream state, our dreams, the dream realm. It's all about what exists under the surface. It is a reminder that healing, life, love, success, health, wealth, ultimately cannot be forced. We can take the steps, but things will always unfold as they should. And like any water sign, it wants us to flow and release the grip on our need to control every aspect of our life. Again, depending on where you live in the world, I live in America, things are or feel more out of control than ever. So I notice my own tendency to grip and want to control and force and have some semblance of order and structure in my life. So again, it's all about, as always, finding the balance between the two and what can we really embrace and live in, and notice the moments when we resist going with the flow. They're our greatest teachers during Pisces season. Those moments are the greatest offering and insights we have in learning how to trust our intuition and not control and grip so tightly. So this new moon in Pisces is happening at the end of the season. So we're going to get into a little bit about Virgo, since the Virgo full moon meets us before this Pisces new moon. But the Virgo full moon on March 3rd is a total lunar eclipse. And it is in the heart of Pisces season. It is also in the heart of eclipse season, which is roughly February 11th. So about 2 weeks ago, or whenever you're listening to this, and then around March 5th. And the last 2.5 years, all of our eclipse moons have been in Pisces and Virgo. So again, even if you don't have this Pisces Virgo energy prominent in your personal chart, collectively, we've been coming up against this leading with feeling, leading with intuition, letting go of the over focus, the hyper correction on analytics and structure and order, and allowing things to get a little messy. And they are certainly getting messy in all ways. And the mess can be beautiful and it can be wildly confronting and necessary, all at the same time. So this total lunar eclipse in Virgo, it is all about noticing those spaces where we tend to second guess our gifts, hold ourselves back because the thing, the thought, the project, the relationship isn't perfect. We are not perfect. And leaning into trust. And if full moons are a time to release, a total lunar eclipse is, that energy is even heightened, even more. It's asking us to release all of our patterns, to notice first. We have to notice in order to know what to release, but to notice the patterns we have around self-criticism, hyper-correction, being wildly judgmental of self and others, perfectionism, thinking that we need to do more and work harder to be of value, being a martyr, overgiving, under-receiving, all of the patterns in my own family and in myself. My South Node is in Virgo. So what I know how to do really well is both the light and the dark of Virgo. And this total lunar eclipse in Virgo is a South Node lunar eclipse because we are still collectively in the South Node of Virgo. And we're going to get into these North and South nodes even more. But really, the shadow side of Virgo is that harsh critic. When they are, I like to say, I said this in the last episode, but one placement I am terrified of, and I'm not afraid to say that, for myself, being in relationship to it, is Virgo Venus in Virgo. Because I find Virgo is wildly misunderstood energy. And to meet an evolved, aware Virgo in 2026 is the most beautiful gift. So many of us, astrology aside, have been, depending on, when you were born and how you were raised, I'm 37, 1988, we were raised to have that like super harsh inner critic, that barometer that's constantly on guard within ourselves to be perfect and get it right and push harder and never quit and never give up and to nitpick and judge and be analytical. We're coming out of 20 years of Saturn, the planet of karmic life lessons and discipline, in Capricorn. So that analytical nature is not wrong, but we really overcorrected in that sense. And I find myself and so many of my friends that are in my age range have that harsh inner critic. So that lower vibrational Virgo energy, which the full moon is asking us to release, is the constant giving and giving and giving until we're depleted. That pattern, that cycle of giving so much, then we feel resentful. Giving when people don't even ask of us, but when we feel this intense expectation to give. The nitpicking. And I find a lot of that unevolved Virgo, unaware, I should say. I like unaware better. Unaware Virgo energy is that anyone who has these placements maybe will resonate. You're so hard on yourself. You're so harsh on yourself that you start to project it onto other people. The expectations and the standards are so high that you hold yourself to, often in unrealistic ways, in unfair ways to yourself, that you then hold other people to that standard. Let's be honest, I'm calling myself out here, that they never even asked or agreed to be held to, the pedestal, right? So the higher vibration, the more aware Virgo understands analysis as a tool, is so grounded in who they are that they don't have to nitpick and judge and critique in a way that's not supportive and helpful. They are honest, they are wise, they are in many realms of astrology, like the truest form of the healer. When that evolved, aware Virgo exists, it's so powerful. So this full moon on the 3rd, we're really releasing any of those areas where we want to critique, judge, place analysis over feeling, perfection over trust, analysis over intuition, really, especially in Pisces season. And knowing that that's coming up, just being aware. All this work really is not constantly judging ourselves even more for when the harsh inner critic comes up, but noticing it. And instead of giving into the voice or the habits or the thoughts, some days it's noticing. Some days I can't shut them off. Some days I can't completely, it's unrealistic to say, and I don't love that word, but it's not always possible when we're working with a habit that's been so ingrained in us for so long to just completely banish it away, cold turkey. Maybe you can. Please teach me your ways. But I would say, some days 100% of the battle is just noticing the thing and putting your attention on something else. And slowly over time, the more you notice and the more you do that, the more a new habit forms, and the more you can lean into surrender over control. You can lean into intuition over analysis. You can lean into trust over perfection, and finding the balance between the two. So March 3rd and this full moon really wants us to be in the release of those qualities that we come up against, that want to critique and judge and be harsh, not even just with other people, but primarily with ourselves. And then that leads us into that Pisces new moon, the end of Pisces season, and we get to remember the message of being Pisces, which is we are souls in a body. This skin, this flesh, it's just a meat suit. What exists inside, that thing we can't touch in the physical form, that is eternal. The body is temporary. And I'm sure you've heard that before, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you think it's bullshit. Okay, maybe you only believe here and now. And we could talk about that. We could debate it. DM me. Email me. But I'm not here to change what you believe. I'm not here to argue with what you believe. But if you are of the mindset of, I like to think that's what deja vu is, right? It was happening at a different time in a different place. And the soul knows that. The body is temporary, the soul is forever. And the new moon wants us to live in the space of just letting ourselves be. Haven't you thought enough? What happens when we just allow ourselves to exist without even just for the day? I know how hard it is, how structured the world is, and how much is expected of you and me, our jobs, our families, your children, your husband, your partner, whoever, everyone that depends on us. What if you just pick one day this Pisces season? Maybe it's the new moon day. Maybe it's just any time this month that you can, to allow yourself to move from a place of intuition only. And it's going to get a little tricky if you've never done that before. You know, your intuition is going to want ice cream for breakfast. And maybe you do it. Maybe you have the ice cream for breakfast. You know, that sounds pretty good to me. But it is practice. It is, was that my intuition? Was that desire? Unhealthy desire? Or maybe desire because I feel uncomfortable actually listening to myself instead of thinking myself into an oblivion. It is a day, this is a new moon for our dreams, our vision to, I've said this many times before leading up to this Pisces season podcast because we've been in this time of Pisces energy, but take all the structure off, all of it. All of the that's not possible, that's impossible when it comes to your dreams and your vision for the future. And not everyone's dream has to be, I build a 600 million figure business and that doesn't even make sense. But, you know, I build a 10-figure business and I have 100 employees and I've got a house here and a condo here and a vacation home. This is not dreams. I'm not speaking about dreams only in the sense of success. And as a Capricorn stellium, a lot of my dreams are around my, and, you know, Pisces in the 10th house, a lot of my dreams are around accomplishments, and there's nothing wrong with that. But going beyond the tangible, dreams of how you want to feel in your life, what's possible, not just for you, for the people you love, for your family, for your community. Nothing is real. Maybe that should have been my rant in the beginning, my tirade in the beginning. All of these structures and systems are made up. Probably by a man. I love you, men, but women and folks who identify as women have very different clocks than you, okay? We all, you know, the structure, the order, it exists in many amazing, helpful ways. But again, we are on this floating rock. And if we take the structure off, the hyper-focus vision goggles off, the night goggles. If you're watching this, I am literally miming goggles. Please imagine that if you don't see that visual on YouTube. But this new moon, our work is to release the inner confines that keep us from our highest vision. And that sounds so ethereal and maybe out of touch. But when was the last time, with everything going on in the world, I'm so aware of that. I'm so aware of that. But when was the last time you dedicated a day just to being? And that doesn't mean you're going to be in the day and not think, I should be productive, I should be doing this. You notice and you say, that's not what we're doing today. We'll get back to that tomorrow. Allowing ourselves to observe our feelings and choose how we want to move forward. And something about this, having the dream, the vision, also comes with the responsibility of kind of gut checking yourself. Not is it possible, but are there any parts of me that still feel unworthy of this thing? Because that's the ultimate barrier, right? Imagination is not the problem. Our imaginations are greater than you probably even give yourself credit for. All you people out there, I'm not creative, lies. You are. Everyone is. You know, creativity is how you cook a meal, how you make a cup of tea. It's anything. But where we get stuck is when we let that unaware Virgo energy, that opposite of Pisces, come in and tell us we're not worthy. That's not possible. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not qualified enough. You know how many people be lying on their resume? You know how many people lie to get ahead? I'm not against it. You have to be your own biggest fan. Trust and believe. I think every job I've gotten is simply because people like to be around me, not necessarily because I'm the most qualified candidate. I would almost put money on that. And that's not diminishing me. That's really like being aware of one of my strengths. But noticing, let your mind go. Let it run wild. Let it be free. And then gut check. Is there a part of me that feels unworthy of this possibility, of this dream, of this vision? And that's the work you really need to do. Not believing that part of you, but undoing it. Knowing that you are worthy. If you dream it, it is possible. You are worthy of it, but you have to believe that first. That's the energy of this Pisces new moon. All about allowing. And if there's any part of you, forget the world. The world's going to do whatever the world's going to do. Whew. If there's any part of you that believes it's not possible, that is your work. That is your work. How do I change the narrative, change the story to match my vision, to match my dream? Nothing is impossible. That's coming off of the heels of Aquarius season 2. And we are in this Aquarian age again. So trusting and knowing that nothing is impossible and meeting that within yourself. Let's talk a little bit about the nodes, the lunar nodes, the North Node and the South Node. The North and South Node are not planets. They're points in the sky. They're planetary points in the sky where the moon's orbit intersects the Earth's path around the sun. I had that written out, yes, because even saying that is tricky. So there are points in the sky similar to the rising sign, your ascendant. It's not a planet, it's a point in the sky at the moment you were born. The nodes, the North and South Node, are always the sibling sign pair. And they rotate about every 18 months. It's a karmic journey. And wherever they are when you're born, that's what the collective is experiencing at that time. So I was born December 1988. My friends that were born in September, all around me, that, specific 18-month span, are all Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node. And then the group of folks after us, I think it changed somewhere in 89, 90, are Aquarius North Node, Leo South Node. So every 18 months, and it depends on where you're born in that 18-month cycle, the nodes shift. From my perspective, we can look at them two ways. If you don't believe in past lives, I do, but if you don't, the North Node is what your soul wants to learn to grow, because the South Node is what you're automatically good at. It's what you were born into this life. I do think everyone has a special gift or gifts. There's things we just naturally understand. That could even be how terrible I was at math and science and how not terrible, really solid I was at English and history, right? You could say it makes sense to me for a lot of reasons, or you could just say it's something that came to me naturally. So if you don't believe in past lives, North Node is what your soul wants to learn to evolve in this lifetime, to give you somewhere to grow. South Node is what you're automatically good at. If you believe in past lives like I do, your North Node is still where your soul wants to go, where it wants to grow and learn to evolve, because the idea is your soul keeps moving on after this. The South Node is what you were in a past life. It's what you learned how to do in your most recent past life. So of course your soul wants to learn new skills to keep evolving and growing into the next iteration, if there is one. I'm praying this is one of my last. I'm ready to be up in the ethers. But I am, for example, a Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node. So yes, these past 18 months, the North Node has been in Pisces. The South Node has been in Virgo. So collectively, all of these themes I was talking about in the new moon and the full moon have been coming up, where we've been asking to surrender over control, trust over analysis, intuition over analysis, trust over perfectionism. And usually, collectively, there's a higher vibration, more awareness, lower vibration, lower awareness for every single sign. But when a sign is in the South Node, we're being asked to release the lower unaware qualities of the sign. So collectively, we've been being asked to do that. In my life in general, that's what I want to learn, which that fucking hits. Okay, I need to surrender. I need to trust. I need to give into my gifts as a healer. This is not coming from me. This is from Astro Twins, have an amazing page on their site all about North and South Node. Please go there and use them as a reference. It's where I was really digging into the North and South Node. I used to refer to them. And now when I do birth chart readings for folks, I actually start with the North Node and South Node right now because I'm interested in using astrology as a place for us to grow and create awareness in all the ways, the light and the dark. So yeah, I'm meant to, I think on their site, it's like embrace being the healer, surrender, our psychic abilities, being the artist. It's so on the nose. And like releasing analysis paralysis, being the martyr, hypercritical, negative self-talk. It hits for me, right? But also because that's been happening collectively, that's what we're being asked to release and embrace. These past 18 months have been all about where have we been holding on too tightly? What would happen if we loosened and trusted the process more? What happens when we listen to intuition over analysis? What happens when we trust our gut instinct, our intuition, that something is not right? Hello, the news. And something is shady business. Not good, and we've been feeling that collectively, I think. And not just listening to the intuition, but also really starting to trust our own so we can start to trust collectively. And these eclipse moons that we've had in Pisces and Virgo, eclipse moons, any eclipse, solar, lunar, are really powerful cosmic events where we experience these accelerated portals, moments, times of growth and shifts in our lives. So the moons have been happening in Virgo and Pisces now for a little while. So maybe if you think back on late August through middle of September, late February to middle of March, these last 2 years, maybe there were accelerated periods of growth or things shifted and changed, whether you have Pisces or Virgo energy or not. And we're wrapping up this season of Pisces, Virgo, eclipse moons, and we're moving into Aquarius and Leo. We've got a little bit more time until July 26th to really, even beyond Pisces season, where do we resist instead of going with the flow? Where do we prioritize perfectionism and overthinking over trust and feeling? That is where we have been asked to grow. So if you are constantly prioritizing analysis and perfectionism, you've got a few more months here to really start to reckon with those parts of you. And right now is a powerful time to do that work because of these Pisces and Virgo moons, but we've still got a few more months to really prep ourselves and open up to our intuition, to our trust, to our surrender, to our faith in each other, in the universe, in what is meant to unfold. And South Node is our comfort zone, and growth does not happen there. It is a beautifully decorated cage, our comfort zone. So if it feels confronting to be in that energy, allow ourselves to be in the energy, in the feeling, and the trust, and the surrender. In the period of time I'm going through right now, and all the things that haven't been working out the way I wanted them, dreamed, envisioned them to, a friend had said to me this week, maybe it's just about letting go and not having the answers and not needing to figure it out and just being in the situation, in the experience, in the relationship, and just allowing it to unfold. That's really the energy of this time. So if you're a control freak or a recovering control freak like I am, I see you, I feel you, I hear you. And we're moving into Aquarius, Leo, North Node, South Node. And our eclipse moons starting in July for the next 18 months will be in Aquarius and Leo. So if you have those placements, just understand that. And I'll get into a little bit more of that in another episode. If we're talking about the South Node will be in Leo and the North Node will be in Aquarius. So collectively, and if you have these placements yourself, if your North Node is Aquarius and South Node is Leo, collectively, we're going to be asked, we know how to be confident, self-express, be in our own energy, to have personal will, to really follow our heart's desire, to focus on ourselves in a healthy way. And I think we've really been in this rugged individualism, me energy collectively for a long time. Aquarius energy, Aquarius season says, no more. Sorry, we're done with that. Pluto, the planet of rebellion, war, has moved into Aquarius. And it's all about the greater good, the collective. Not just using our gifts to solely get ahead, to individually get ahead, but using our gifts to support humanity, something larger than ourselves, something that's not so self-serving, but selfless in a lot more ways. To take a step back from being centered, from centering self, and center the world around us. And, again, the balance. We need to learn how to center ourselves in order to healthily center other people, or center other people in a healthy way. But rugged individualism, it just ain't gonna work. And we're being asked to really embrace the collective. If it's not good for all of us, it's not good for any of us. And to learn that actually one of the most powerful forms of growth is done through contributing to everyone. Of course, I'm on the barter system train. Look at what we're stepping into. Of course, I'm like, let's get back to communal everything. And I think we're seeing that too in so many ways. People are hungry for, longing for community and connection. And there's so many avenues for that and ways that will appear. Okay, we will dive into that North Node change in a few months. But just being aware of where we are right now and where we're going, and allowing ourselves to build our intuitive gifts. Because when it comes to community and collective, like, I find so often our intuition, and I don't like to say gut instinct because I don't experience my intuition there necessarily. We all experience it at a different place, but our intuition is what is going to help us truthfully, authentically create the communities that are for our best and highest good. That is the greatest currency, that intuition, that connective feel of, yes, this person is for me, right? And community, again, is going to be our greatest currency, if you're not already feeling that. Some other things that are happening. Mercury retrograde. I know some of y'all are terrified of it, and I get it. I'm going to say I am a Gemini rising. I am ruled by Mercury. No one should fear it more than me, and I don't fear it. So, and it's in Pisces, which is mutable, which I am, so mutable. But Mercury retrograde will be in all the water signs this year. It moves through the elements. Last year was fire, this year's water. So February to March, Cancer season, so like June to July, and then again around Scorpio season, October, November. This year is February 26th to March 20th. Be mindful of the periods before and after. Feelings, communication can be a little murky. We might be feeling like playing smaller than ever. We might be struggling to communicate or stand up for ourselves, or maybe we're overcorrecting in that way. So as always, just being mindful, dotting our I's, crossing our T's. If you can avoid booking flights or a trip during that time, if you can avoid signing contracts during that time, buying new technology. But if it's things you've been working on and planning, just be mindful. Leave yourself more time. Reassess, reevaluate, ground down, move slow, which is a gift. It's the end of the year. Astrologically. So we should be doing that anyway, all the things they try to force on us in December. I'm like, it's Sag season. We're partying. It's Capricorn season. We're trying to grind. Like, I don't, it doesn't make sense to me, but this makes sense to me. And I mentioned this earlier, but Saturn and Neptune. Saturn, the planet of karmic life lessons, discipline, maturity, structure. Daddy Saturn. If Saturn was a figure, it would be a daddy, a father. Neptune is the planet of dreams, wishes, subconscious, what lies underneath. They have both moved into Aries. They were in Pisces. Neptune was in Pisces for about 14 years. Saturn was in Pisces for about 3. And they have now just both moved into Aries. And I am recording this on February 20th. And they are in an exact conjunction, like I said, for the first time in 6,000 years. Whew! There is some historical generational astrology happening in this period of time right now. So if life feels like a lot, it is a lot for many reasons. And the astrology is one of the reasons why. But I like to see it as the opportunity to pull that damn wool off our eyes, take the rose-colored glasses off, and see things, people, structures, people in power, leaders, as they really are. That they are not more powerful than us. This episode's really getting banned. They are not more powerful than us. That so many of the systems and structures were not created to our benefit. Anyway, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, it is the journey of burning away the bullshit. We have started that collectively. It is burning away the bullshit, the lies, the falsehoods, the falsities, the places, the spaces, the people that have been hidden collectively, protected, given all of the resources. You know what I'm talking about. Don't make me say it. That is being burned away. Whew. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It is the fire sign. It is one of one. It is the original. It is I am. We are no longer playing nice with the spaces, the places, the people, the stories that keep us small for their benefit. It is the energy of what are you willing to stand up for? What are we willing to stand up for and fight for? And what are we no longer tolerating? That is the energy of this Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And Saturn will only be here for about 3-ish years, but, what are we willing to stand up for? What are we willing to fight for? What are we willing to be inconvenienced and uncomfortable for in order to build that dream, that vision, the way we know things can be, the way maybe we intended them to be when we started this nonsense of structured society, and it got out of control. It got into the hands of the wrong people, like many things, and it became systems and structures to oppress, not uplift. So what are we willing to stand up for, fight for, burn to the ground, get uncomfortable for in order to serve not just self, but for everyone around us? We've got to have that vision and have that dream to know what has to go, to know what has to be released. And I'm not saying it's always comfortable. I like a lot of the shit that needs to go. I've bought into it. But when we can all collectively realize that it's no longer working, that it doesn't actually serve us, that is where the magic happens. That is where change happens. Whew. Feels good to be back. I hope that made sense. And if it didn't, that's just my Pisces season journey. There's a lot going on. A lot. And astrology is just information. It is information I love and I am strongly influenced by and try to be aware of, but you have free will. The only thing I believe in more than astrology is free will. And the stars can only tell us so much. This system can only tell us so much. Ultimately, we have the power, we have the choice. So let's choose wisely. and choose authentically and choose in a way that supports not just ourselves, but everyone around us. Feel your feelings, cry it out. When in doubt, cry it out. If you need something to cry over, check out my sweet little monkey that, how do we save him? Punchy. Feel your feelings over analysis. If you're an analytical person, I promise we can get back to that soon. I promise. I promise it is not one or the other. It is just inviting in a little bit more of one than the other right now, just to see where it takes us and finding the balance. Thank you for listening. I'm so happy to be back with you. I love doing this. I love sharing this. If you have any questions, like I said, especially about your north or south node, please reach out. Astro Twins has a great page I'm going to link in the show notes, along with the Pisces season playlist. And I would be remiss to not shout out one of my favorite Pisces. I'm sorry I didn't do this at the beginning of the episode, but my wonderful, angelic, brilliant, beautiful producer, Marielle. She is a Pisces queen. I love her so very much. This would not be possible without you, and I know you're listening to this, and I'm so glad you are. You have to. But I love you. Happy birthday. I'm so grateful that the universe, the stars, breathwork brought us together. Thank you for all that you do. Your Pisces energy is loved and appreciated so deeply, and I can't wait to see all of the amazing things that are unfolding for you over these next few years as you follow your authentic bliss and intuition like no one else can, because you are a true Pisces. Thank you for listening. If you know Marielle, give her a birthday shout out. If you have a Pisces in your life or you are a Pisces, celebrate yourself, celebrate that person. I love you. I see you. Feel your feelings. And I can't wait to breathe in and scream out with you again.